Law from the channel Justice, and here I have with me my co-host Ken and Izumi.
Yo,
Hey guys,
deal.
hello.
Today we have a very special guest, our close friend Mimi.
Hello.
Okay, thank
What's
God.
up?
Thank God. So
totally,
today,
totally didn't need to restart or anything.
yeah,
First time.
there's no way. First try, first take. Like every single
Yeah.
trick shot video on the internet. First time. Let's go. Um. So
Totally.
yeah, totally, definitely. So today
So,
we're
Law,
gonna
tell
be
us what we're talking
talking
about.
about the number one anime on my anime list, which has
Mm-hmm.
been there like for years, and it's always been number one. So
I think it's
I think
deserving.
in the community, perhaps. Well, that's debatable.
Perhaps.
Let's talk about just the the masterful writing that this was. I forget. Let me just mention it
Okay,
because
let's talk the
it's
name.
definitely not in the title.
It's Fairy Tail.
Yeah. No, like the most influential anime ever, Dragon Ball Z.
Oh God.
known
No,
known for the best writing in the industry.
completely.
Hey, chala.
Okay, anyways, all jokes aside, we are talking about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Alright.
Y'all are
Yes.
just mad that I
13.
can sing the Dragon Ball Z opening better than you guys. That's what this is about.
If we're talking about openings, like, no, which opening is actually hard is like the One Piece one. It's like, Ich ni san yo, we go.
Oh,
That one is
you're
fire.
challenging me, Law.
I
He
will
also
challenge
knows
you.
the opening. Oh my
I
God.
will challenge you.
Law, what is your favorite One Piece opening?
I believe it's called Great Days from Part 4.
Okay. Alright, let's talk about the actual anime. So, Mimi, this is your first time watching it. What did you think?
It was pretty cool. Like I like the plot, but there are some things at the end and in the middle that were like that shouldn't have happened. But yeah, it was a pretty good anime actually. I did watch it like a year ago, and then I stopped halfway. So then
Mm-hmm.
yesterday I continued on and I just binged watched everything. And then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The,
Okay,
the
so
ending was just satisfactory.
really,
But
really, like
yeah, what?
the first thing I thought when I finished that anime was that the ending is very satisfying, even
Best
though they did,
ending in anime?
even maybe even though they didn't accomplish their goal. I thought that what Edward had accomplished was a lot more impactful than what he had in
It
mind.
was a satisfactory.
So, Ken, you're telling
But
me that
I
he
do have some
fulfilled the power of friendship?
to argue with.
Honestly, like
Alright.
personally, I think he should have just used the stone, but it's up to him. And let's
It
say
was
like
a
the
moral victory, and
I
like
know,
I
but
loved it.
think about the great things he could have done with his alchemy.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
Yeah.
it
god!
would always be on his conscience that he's using the souls of these tortured
But
people.
didn't Roy do the same? But Roy
But Roy
asked
is
them for their
different.
consent.
Roy is different.
Roy asked them for consent. He should have did the
Okay,
same.
but like just because you're okay with somebody else doing something doesn't mean you don't want to take the high road. I felt like I liked the fact that he decided that I dug myself into this mess, and so I will dig myself
Like
out of it by sacrificing something that's more important than anything, his
of
alchemy.
course,
Like,
of course.
I thought that was a really
Like,
great ending.
couldn't he just sacrifice another body part or something?
I don't know if it would have been equal
Uh,
to saving his whole brother, because it needs to be
honestly,
equivalent.
honestly though, like I would have liked it if he kept his alchemy. However, I like this is my own dwelling on the show after it ended, but the actual ending was really satisfying. Like it didn't I didn't think it was like flawed or left anything unsaid. It is just my interpretation
Yeah.
after, like my thoughts after. But let's save like the criticism for later. Let's just talk
Yeah, like I
about.
thought we started off perfectly talking about the ending in the beginning of the episode. Like so great. So
I know,
great.
right?
There's a first for
So
everything, guys.
So
yeah,
what?
let's talk about
Let
the
Mimi.
things that
Let's
you
talk
like.
about why you dropped it.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
um, I just, I don't know. I lost interest like halfway through.
Was there any
Before, like, okay, I
particular
lost
point?
interest at like, um, I don't think so. I think I was just at that time. I was like, meh. It was pretty good. I was like, still interested into watching it, but then like in the middle of it, I'm just like, I'll just go watch something now. So I'll like watch this later. Like
Yeah, let me
maybe
go
something happens
watch.
later.
Let me go watch the new episode of Black Clover, and then just forget about this beautiful show.
Yeah,
Is
at that
Mimi
time,
a
yeah,
Black Clover fan?
Of course, of course.
Nice.
yeah.
Me and Mimi like bonded over Black Clover because
Oh
when I
God,
was watching
Meryl
it,
Yona.
when I was watching it, I
Ooh,
didn't have anybody
really?
else that liked it at the time, and like
Brad,
nobody else.
do you remember the freaking hours long
We used
conversations
to talk.
about
Oh
Black
my!
Clover?
It was like
Hey,
the conversations were like 8 hours, not 8 hours, probably like 4 or 5 hours long, and it was just like
Yeah.
all on Black Clover. This is why I love talking to
Mhm.
Mimi. Like we could just talk for hours on anime. Like
Uh-huh.
and
um,
this is what I'm talking about: Full Metal Alchemist, and not Black Clover.
Full Metal Alchemist, Black Clover.
Full Metal Alchemist.
I
Like
mean, hey, both of them were nice.
okay, let's talk about the beginning. Oh, well, I think we should probably talk about the difference between Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Full Metal Alchemist itself.
I haven't watched the main
I haven't
one,
watched.
so
Yeah,
I believe
same.
Azumi has seen both, so I'd love to hear her thoughts on it.
On what?
Like the how you felt about Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I haven't watched it in so long. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you.
Damn. Okay, I will say Brotherhood had a much better plot, and things made a lot more sense, and I enjoyed it a lot more. But Alchemist, a lot of people just like it for the nostalgia, and that's respectable. I also like it for
yeah.
the nostalgia, but it also offered a lot of filler things that were just so fun. Like there was this tournament where Roy fought Edward, and it was like Edward creating these like stone
Ooh,
walls and Roy destroying it, and it was pretty
I need
fun. Like
I need to watch that. Actually, it sounds fire.
it was pretty fire, but like because Roy, Roy's pretty fire.
It's literally fire.
Yeah, pun. I'm so good at them until I'm not. But
Mhm.
so let's talk about Roy. I guess we're on that. Let's talk about Roy. Mimi.
Sure.
Um. He was actually a pretty cool character. Like but the ending, I didn't like the ending where
More
he
on the
was like,
ending later.
yeah, no, when he took the philosopher's stone and he was like, oh, I'm gonna just use it to
No,
like
no. He asked.
clear my
He
eyes.
asked for consent. He asked for consent.
Yes.
But
So before
still, but
He
you
asked.
still,
He asked.
like no.
Okay, okay. Apart from the ending, what did you think about Roy versus Lust?
ooh,
And that wasn't even a fight. That was just
that
a
was a
full-on beat.
massacre. That was not
That
a
was a
fight.
beating.
It was a one-sided massacre.
The one where he burnt him to death.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Yeah,
doing my
that
boy
was
Hugh.
pretty
Oh
epic.
my
Okay, the
god.
Huge.
fact, okay, how
Huge.
he lost his temper like that, it was like, oh, damn.
Let's talk about
Honestly,
Hugh.
honestly, what hit me most about that fight though is we never got to see Roy go like all out, and we were introduced to these Lust characters. Not Lust,
I
like
think you're
her.
confusing lust with envy.
No, no, no. I'm saying we've only met like Lust is the first
Oh
homunculus
yeah,
we
yeah.
meet. So we're seeing these overpowered characters, and we're like, there's no way anyone can take him because at this point, like Roy isn't seen as that much of a powerful person, but he just
Hmm.
smacks her around like that.
Yeah.
Oh my! god, he is so good.
It was a really cool moment. I loved it, like
Yeah,
completely. And Hughes didn't deserve that.
Hughes had me in tears. His daughter going to his coffin, and she was
Oh
like,
my god. I
he
don't
was
Oh,
know.
like,
that was so sad.
You see, there's moments that were in, I think, Full Metal Alchemist that weren't in Brotherhood that I loved. I remember while he's getting lowered into the grave, his daughter starts asking, "Hey, why are they putting Dad in the ground if he's not if he goes in the ground he's not going to be able to go to work tomorrow?" I'm like,
they said that in Brotherhood
they
as
It was
well.
did.
the
Okay,
saddest
okay,
thing ever.
that was depressing. That was
That
hella
was
depressing.
honestly very depressing. He was a good dad too. He was a really good
Yeah.
dad.
He was
Oh
great.
no! But then, like, the other dude, I forgot his name. That had a daughter and turned his daughter
Oh
into a dog or
my
whatever. Oh my god,
god.
I
Oh,
hated
why
him.
did
Oh
I
my
why did
hated
you
god.
him.
What was his
why
name?
did you break that up? I don't know.
What
He's
was
not worth remembering.
He was just
It
one
was
of the most evil human beings
he
ever.
was so horrible. Like first he did it to his wife. He turned her into like a something, and then he did it to his daughter. Like,
You know,
why, mate?
the most
Why?
the most depressing thing is the daughter trying to speak to Edward about playing. Oh my
Oh my
god.
The
god.
most depressing thing was just her begging someone to kill her. Like,
Yeah, and Scar, like, remember when Scar
Scar.
mentioned that? He was like,
Yeah.
like you say you're creating, but look at what you're doing. And at that moment, like if I had been in their place, I don't know what I would have said because honestly, that was just too much.
It
It was
was.
too much.
I I had nightmares of that when I was a kid. Like, I watched it. Maybe I was like
That was
12.
deserved.
I had nightmares
And
for like weeks. I would just be like, "Holy shit!" Just wake up and like, "Oh my god!" Terrified of this shit. Like, it was
Oh my god, please, mom,
horrifying.
don't turn me into a dog. I will do the dishes.
Oh my god. I though back to Hughes. He was just so wholesome. Every time like somebody would come, he would like show them a picture of his
He was
family.
also a genius. Like he was also a genius. He figured out the whole like
Yeah.
countrywide circle. He figured that out from like a couple episodes in.
Like,
He was a good man.
the beauty of
mhm.
rewatching stuff is seeing that scene and how he talks about like the genocides, and he's mapping them out in the locations, and it kind of forms a pentagram, and if you were paying attention, like if you while you rewatch it, you're like, holy shit, he was predicting the end, and that's why they had to end him.
Yeah,
Like,
it was great.
it was great. Like, it was so good, man. I love Hughes.
This was
Before
like
we
one of the
move
saddest
on,
stuff.
before we move on from like the beginning of the show too much, what did you guys think about the first episode? Because the first episode to me was really depressing.
hmm.
The whole side, like when they tried to reincarnate their mom, that was
Oh, that
something
wasn't
else.
the first episode. That was like a couple episodes later.
No, no,
The
no, no.
first
In the first,
episode, no, no, the first episode is about the ice wizard who wanted to destroy the capital because he too, like Hughes, found out the secret of like that the government is run by homunculi and stuff. And so the first episode is them chasing around the ice dude, and it introduces
maybe
one of my favorite concepts. Was like when Roy is trying to attack him, and then he just throws water on Roy, and then Roy is like, I can't, I'm useless in the
Yeah.
rain.
anyway, like maybe it's not the
It's
first
no,
episode.
it's a
I
couple
can't remember.
episodes later.
But the when they revealed the backstory was too good. It was depressing and it was so impactful.
It was
I don't know
really
how you
well
guys
written.
felt about it.
It's just the fact that like 7-year-old kids or whatever they were, they did that. Like they had the guts to do
I
that, to
mean,
like
Yeah,
like
sacrifice
Mimi,
themselves,
if you
for one
think about
another
it,
or like to see their mother. But like
if
it's
you
just that
if
they
you
had the courage to do that. Like damn.
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you were a child, like Like this is also something really interesting, but as a child, you don't really know completely the meaning of dying or the meaning of fear. So you're like
Yeah.
it was they had this power to revive their mom who they know they loved, and it had the potential of being dangerous, but who cared because they're children, which was also really it's
Well,
like
true, but like they still
no
had
one
like so much confidence to do that.
yeah yeah I
They
mean
they
I don't
were very mature.
yeah
They
they
were
were
very mature, and I think what really solidified that to me was the moment when after they've already been like beaten and destroyed, and when they decide to burn down the house, kind of um, remove their past, also kind of felt like to me they were kind of over the idea of reviving their mother, and they were over that childish ideas, and they're just like, we just want to move on with what we have, and what we have is each other.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
no one would have blamed them for it because they're children, but at the same time, they decided to take full action and full responsibility for what they did and learn from it,
it
which is
was it
great
was
character.
it was so sad for Ed because he's
Mm,
he blames himself completely for it, and I felt like that was one of the like highlights of the early episodes. Ed dealing with his guilt of roping his brother into this, because Ed was the older
yeah,
one. If he kind of pushed his brother away from doing that, then he probably would have listened. And
yeah,
like for some reason, when it was reincarnating their mother, Ed's full body was taken, and so just that depressing moment where I said Alphonse's full body was taken. That like depressing moment when Ed is like on the ground, one arm is missing, torn off, bleeding everywhere, one leg is torn off, and he's crawling with one leg and one hand to the armor shell, and he's using the blood from his like spurting arm, and he's like, um, I don't care what happens, but you can't take away my brother. And he sacrificed. Oh no, no, sorry, it was one leg was missing, and then using the two hands remaining, he sacrificed one hand
One arm.
to
Yeah.
one arm to bring back Alphonse. Like that, I just loved that. Like it showed, it was just so powerful. And in the episodes later where Alphonse is like kind of coming to like when he was kind of getting mind fucked by that other one, where it's like, are you sure you're even real? Are the people just lying to you? Like it was like episode 14 or 15 that kind of was
Hmm.
going
hmm
on in Alphonse's head. But when he hears Ed, I don't think Ed was on like a hospital bed or something, and he hears Ed just, I think he was crying or he was just really sad, saying, "I'm sorry, Alphonse, for bringing you into this. I'm so sorry." And I like that was probably my favorite part of the early show.
yeah.
Honestly, the relationship between the two brothers, it was so freaking cute. It was adorable. And it's the fact that they would sacrifice themselves. They're ready on the spot to sacrifice themselves for each other. Like, damn, that's amazing.
I agree. It it
Brotherly and familial love is something that is very like it's
it's
very strong.
it's very prominent in the show as well. Like Hughes loving his family, and that's why for a show that had like all these themes of familial love, to have what that guy did to his daughter, like
Ah, that is
that
just
that
disgusting.
was so jarring. Like if that happened in, let's say, Berserk, people would be like, okay, fucked up things happen in Berserk. But the fact that this
Yeah,
happened in a series where we're taught about the values of familial love and the sadness of losing a loved one, for someone to just so casually do this, it makes you feel even more utterly disgusted. Like, and the
Hmm.
theme of familial love starts. It isn't just with Ed and Alphonse and their parents. It isn't just with Hughes. It's with other major characters like um,
like their teacher,
Scar,
the sensei.
the teacher, definitely her wanting to have a child and eventually losing that ability. But when
She made the same mistake that they did, and they took
yeah,
some of her.
and what's her name as well? Not what's his name? Scar. Scar also had that theme, so it was a very
Yeah, Scar.
prominent theme in the show. Um,
And it's a theme I really love because it's rarely ever done this well in a show. I feel like.
I agree, and I like the multiple angles that it was taken throughout the show. Um, yeah, that
And the best thing about it is that they expressed they like the very first reincarnation. They made it very clear that death is something that you can't escape. And Ed going back to his mom's grave and digging out her corpse, noticing that it wasn't even her, that something about that was just very, very hitting. I don't know what it is about it.
yeah, it was just dark, and it took a lot of time to like mentally process watching that as a child. Like
I don't
it.
think you should have watched that at the age of 12. You definitely shouldn't.
You
This
should
is
have
the
because
villain origin story.
because when I have a kid, I'll make them watch it, and I'll be like, if you don't do your homework, I'll use some alchemy. You'll be
You're gonna
you'll
end up
turn
like
into
that
a
dog.
dog. Yeah.
That dog was so scary, and I couldn't un like I couldn't pick between being scared or feeling sorry, and that was like
Honestly,
the most messed up
I
thing.
was I was an adult when I was watching it, so I was more leaning towards just empathy. I wanted to hug the dog.
Yeah.
And I
But
think it's also
like it
because I
also like
watched
doesn't
it
it just
in
like
dub.
make you angry? I mean, it made me angry. I'm
Yeah,
like, I want to beat the shit out of that dude, her father.
it
It's
Oh,
just
he's
so there's just something so like this is also something like a theme, like the manipulation of someone else's life. Like even Ed and Alphonse, they even try to manipulate their mom's soul, and they tried to bring her back, and that ended up in them trying to ended up in Alphonse losing his body, and the same thing happens with with the parent and his daughter. This time he did it for his own gain,
mm-hmm.
which is just something that is very despicable. Even though it's the same concept, you end up feeling
it was.
empathy for Ed and Alphonse, but you feel disgusted by the dad's actions, which is
Yeah,
something the show really does well.
yeah. I think it was done mainly to contrast that. Like we have all these different angles to represent the theme of familial love, and to have somebody who is not synonymous with it, some who's literally the antonym of familial love. This dude, I think it was named Show Tucker. Show Tucker is the
Oh,
antonym
yeah, that is
of
his
familial
name, yeah.
love. Man, I hate that dude. I'd fight him on the spot. It's on site with him. Um,
Man, I don't know, like anything with kids being abused or hurt, it just hits different.
yeah, especially like when Garp was
Yeah.
punching the shit out of his kids through forests. Oh my god.
So that is fine.
That's the fist of love. I love Garp, man. Okay, anyways, let's bring it
Yeah.
back to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Great show. Loved it.
Did y'all watch it in
Roy.
sub or dub?
I was saying earlier, what made the Chimera creepier was that I watched it in dub when I was younger, and
Oh,
the dub voice they used some like voice modulating that makes it's just the little girl's voice, except hella deep. Like it's been like altered to be very deep.
didn't
So
they do the same in the sub?
I don't know if they did the same in the sub,
They
but
did. I'm pretty sure
the
they did. Yeah.
the, the voice horrified me for
It was
years.
horrifying.
It
It was
was
horrifying.
like it was just I'm getting tingles
And
in my spine.
the fact that the dude tried to play it off to the bureau that he invented a new chimera that can talk,
Oh
is
yeah.
just so heartbreaking. When
Wake
they get
up
there and they
now.
see it, and they're like, "What have you done?" They're like, "What have you done?" Ah,
I hate that guy with a passion.
Yeah.
I do too.
But yeah, let's talk about Roy. And my I
We
think
did we do that?
no, we didn't. We did for a second, but then we got distracted by Hughes. My favorite moment of Roy, and maybe my favorite moment in the series, is when Roy is visiting Hughes's funeral, and he says,
Oh,
he says it looks like it's beginning to rain, and Hawkeye is there, and she's like, no, the sky is pretty clear, and then she looks towards him, and he's beginning to cry, and she's like, oh yes, I see it's raining. And what made that even more powerful to me, maybe I'm overanalyzing or thinking about it too much, was that Roy's only weakness is, as he mentioned, like I'm useless in the rain, and to have to for him to talk about it being raining that day was kind of drawing a line, like connecting rain to his sadness. And so in that moment, like for his and I believe it's also true for his character, but in that moment, sadness was his only weakness. And so him saying that it's raining or I'm useless in the rain, it's like I'm useless when I'm sad, and I just loved it. Probably my favorite in the series.
I
If I had to
didn't
think of,
I didn't get it. I didn't get it that way at all. I just thought that he started crying, and instead of, she was like, "Are you crying?" and he tried to play it off by saying, "No, it's just raining."
no,
I didn't get.
she didn't ask, "Are you crying?" Before he cried, he said, it looks like it's about to rain," and then she said, "What? No, it's not raining." And then she looked at him. I remember this very vividly because I
Yeah, and he
love this
said,
scene.
"No, it's raining, all right."
No, I don't even think he replied. I think she just looked up and then looked towards him and realized, and she was like, "Oh shit." But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Didn't get it the way you did. I just thought it
that's
was just a
fine.
way for him
We all
to
we
hide his tears.
we all have different interpretations, but that's my favorite
It's still
moment.
beautiful. It's still a very beautiful scene,
It is
regardless
very
how
beautiful
you
scene.
get it.
It's a very beautiful scene. It's also, I didn't like how in the end they cut. It's something I hate, the trope of like, oh, you're better than revenge. You don't need to do this. I hate that completely. Let this dude get his revenge. Let him kill some people. That's perfectly fine. It's healthy. He needs it. He's literally killing a homunculus
Healthy.
who murdered thousands of people, bro. If it'll bring him closure to end this person, do it. I don't
I
like
agree.
the idea of like, oh, you're better than killing this person. You're a good guy, and it's like, no,
But
bro.
law, is that really what the dead person would have wanted?
It's like, yeah,
I hate the argument. I hate the argument.
yup. It's like I've said in the past. The somebody who is all good isn't necessarily the best thing, because if you are always good, then you can never be just, because not everybody deserves goodness. Envy didn't deserve that. But I did like how Envy killed itself, or herself, or
Yeah.
himself. I don't
Yeah,
even know. Envy
yeah.
killed himself because he didn't want to be looked down upon by humans. I love that. So I'm not necessarily complaining about that. I just don't like how Hawkeye and everybody was like, you don't have to do this. If Roy did it himself, if he was like just bodying Envy and just looked down at him and said, you're not even worth killing, and then Envy killed himself, like that would have been way more satisfying. But to have Roy be completely infuriated and about to kill Envy, and
Oh yeah, I hated that.
everybody's like,
I
no,
remember now.
stop, you're a good guy, you can't kill people. It's like,
Oh fuck,
bitch,
I
we're in the
remember this.
army. Literally, Hawkeye
Yeah.
murdered thousands of innocent Ishvalians, and she's like, no, Roy, you're a
I
good
hated
guy.
that.
Like, I
I
hated
Yeah,
that
hated
you.
too.
that so much because I really wanted him to punch his face in, but he was like, "Oh, it's a good guy." No, no, he is a good guy, and that's why he's killing him. That's the whole
Yes,
point of being an officer.
yes. Like, she's
Yeah,
killed
I
so
don't get
many
why they stuff
innocent
him.
Ishvalians, like, during the war. She killed so many
Mm-hmm.
people. Like, she was a
No, like
sniper.
I wanna know their thought process. Like this dude is the law. If they don't kill him now, what is gonna happen? Are they gonna let him off? No, they're gonna kill him because he killed people.
Mm-hmm.
Let him kill
I
him.
agree.
Let him die.
What I hate, if it was like anybody else, somebody who wasn't in the military, somebody who was just a childish person who was just really kind and things like that, then sure, I would be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, maybe they don't understand this. But Hawkeye, she had a whole monologue saying to, I think, to Ed, like, people like you alchemists in the war, when you attacked, you just attacked buildings and things, and you damaged their bases. You didn't. Anybody you killed was typically just collateral damage. I was a sniper. Everybody who died because of me, I intended to kill. And then after going through such a hardcore badass monologue like that, which I was like, damn, I rate Hawkeye for this, even though she killed these poor people, she's still badass. After that, she's like, no, Roy, you can't kill this evil, terrible person because you're a good guy. And it's like, that's so stupid. I hated it just through my core. Like, I just,
Yeah, also it's the fact that she was like, "Oh, I'll take care of him. Like, I'll kill him later on." But like, you just don't do that. That
oh
was
my,
annoying.
it
Cause
was so
like,
annoying.
he's gonna die anyway. Just let him kill
Yeah.
him.
Let's just finish up with Roy before we move on. But Roy, love him so much. The idea where, like, the thing that was taken from him that he valued most was his vision, because he sought to seek he saw a brighter future. I thought that was
Hmm.
somewhat poetic, but it was like, damn, this guy really got fucked. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was about it. His character was great, probably one of the best in the show. I might argue somebody else. Greed. Greed is probably my favorite in the show.
Oh,
Greed.
I
Yes,
love
agreed.
Greed and Ling. Oh my! Even like
Greed
Ling
They
and
wasn't
were literally the best combo.
greed, the
that.
avarice.
Greed was the better. Greed was so good.
Great.
Like
I-
Yeah, I love that guy. I love that guy so much. The fact that he was green. Oh my god, I
Wait,
love
what?
green.
Was he even green? He was black.
no
Are
lie.
you
He's
Yeah.
sure?
She's talking about like
Sorry,
his name is Green,
La.
not Greed.
La, I'm colorblind. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Azumi's just so woke, she doesn't see color.
I know,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. No discrimination.
Yeah. So,
How can I discriminate when I don't see color?
yep.
You know the first thing, like the only time I actually enjoyed the whole trope of like the real treasure was the friends we made. The only time I really
Oh,
appreciated that, the only time I appreciated that was with Greed, because he had to learn that the hard way,
I don't
and
think he
he
had to learn that.
I don't think he should have died.
No, I disagree with that, because
wait.
greed. When we think of the idea of greed, we think about just purely
thinking
monetary.
about green.
He wants money. Yeah, he wants that green. He wants the money. He wants power. He wants this, and he says that I want all these things, but it doesn't stop with that. I want all that this world has to offer, and it isn't just those vices. It's also good things. He deeply cares about the people under him. You remember when the wrath, the homunculus wrath, or was it? No, it was, yeah, it was definitely wrath. The guy, the one with the one eye, he came and he just murdered all of his underlings. Greed was so pissed, not because he's weaker now, but because as Greed, he wants people around him and he cares about those people. And if you are the people that serve under him, he will do anything in the world for you. And that's been there from the beginning. And it was just, I think the best thing that he did was he taught Ling to embrace that part of himself. Gring has always, not sorry, did I say I mixed their names, Greed and Ling. Ling has always been like that. Ling
Stand up.
cares about the people below him, but he doesn't really embrace that completely. Where he doesn't embrace the idea of greed, like, even though he definitely represents it quite well. But towards the end, he finally came to terms with that, and he let his greed take over. And greed in this case doesn't always mean a bad thing. It's not the same as envy, where you want something because another person has it. No, you want everything, and that everything doesn't have to be only bad. You want everything, which is good and bad and everything. I just loved it. They're both great characters.
I mean, how is that different from what I said though?
You were saying like he had to learn the power of friendship, But I'm saying
No,
he had the
he
power of
didn't.
friendship from the very beginning.
He had no, he had to, or maybe not he himself, but I guess I meant we, like as a viewer, we had to
Oh,
learn that way.
okay, I respect that. My
Because like it was
yeah,
unexpected.
the most poetic moment of the series is how the dwarf in the flask, otherwise known as Father,
Oh yeah,
he lost
Oh,
due to the fact that his own greed was his own doing, figuratively and literally. He tried to swallow God, and
yeah.
that was a more figurative greed. But
are y'all talking about swallowing little boys? That's not okay, guys.
what the fuck?
What do you mean,
What?
little boys? Where'd you get that from?
Gone. He said gone.
You
No.
said God. Azumi is your ear, okay?
Asumi.
We're not
Oh,
talking about Hisoka right now.
I'm sorry. I thought you guys were talking about gone.
Nah.
Yeah,
Hisoka's in
guys, my favorite Full Metal Alchemist character was Hisoka. He was so good.
Alright,
I
so
really liked
as
the
I
part
was
when he
saying,
was chasing Edward.
he was
Uh-huh.
chasing young Edward. I, like, it was said that the only person who could defeat Pride was Hisoka. But just before I leave away from greed, um, greed was just the fact that he was the one who like made the what he did was he used his carbon manipulation to make sure that Father was more fragile and vulnerable. So it was literally his greed that broke him and that got him. That was his undoing.
I still think that he shouldn't have died. Like he should have like even if he like stayed as a little whatever he was, a little green thing, like his first form or whatever, he shouldn't have died. Like he realized his mistake. He realized what he's been doing, and he's like, "Oh my god! So
Did
now I know what I should do better."
did he really die?
Why did
I kind of got the feeling that
How did
even
he?
though
How did
he
he die? I don't remember.
Father ripped
he
him out
turned
of
into
Ling.
ashes?
Like Father ripped him out of Ling and then turned him into
Yeah,
ashes. Ling, I feel like in a more figurative sense, I feel like Greed never died because his essence
he's
still
still inside of
lives on
Ling.
Ling. Yeah, literally, like
Nah,
Ling
nah.
embodies him.
I think he died, guys. I'm sorry.
No, he definitely
I'm
died.
sorry, guys.
If you're talking about plot wise, he's definitely dead. But I think he.
Guys, they're our loved ones are always alive inside our hearts.
No, but it was
Obvious.
more
Like
than that. They were so similar.
they became one. At one point, they became one. Like they were so like
I don't know.
Okay.
I
they
would
could
have loved
communicate
it.
so well
I would have
together.
loved it. I would have loved it if Ling went back home with Greed as his ulterior like personality.
Oh
I
my
would have loved
god,
that. That would
yeah.
have been really
It would
cool.
have been funny, but I kind of
Oh, and
liked
the
the
last
ending.
part.
Honestly,
Okay.
I would have watched like a whole series on Greed and
Just
Ling
Greed.
trying to save their country, and
Uh,
Greed being like, "What are you doing, you goddamn dumbass?" It would have been funny.
yeah, I agree. It would have been nice, but I think he had a fitting death, and that was
He did
yeah.
Yeah.
because he was after all like
Huh.
he was one of the
Mm.
homunculi, so he deserved to die. But he was a good
He doesn't
character.
deserve to die.
No, if you're a bad person,
Was he a bad
Okay,
having
but
person?
he realized his
He was the
mistake.
only one who disobeyed
okay
Father in
having
multiple
Yeah, he was the
reincarnations.
only one who did his own. Like he made his own decision. You
He
know.
he literally disobeyed himself. Like I
okay
think
true. I didn't remember that. I don't remember that. Okay,
that was that
my
was what I
bad.
loved about Greed, like just the idea because like let's say your
He made
lust,
his own decision.
yeah, your lust or your pride and your things like that, those are vices that everyone has, but you can typically control your lust, you can typically control your pride, force it with humility, but there's no way
Mhm.
to control greed.
You agreed.
That's what
Yeah,
I love.
it's
That's
another theme of this show as well.
I love
Because
greed.
as you said, father's own undoing was his greed and pride.
His
I
pride
just love I love the way that they portrayed this because they were like he tried to absorb God or something, and that that kind of fucked him over, which was good in my opinion.
Yeah. In terms of
Because
yeah.
yeah,
No, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like his pride, because definitely has something with pride. If you think you could swallow God, then definitely have like a big ego. So I think it was both. It was both greed and pride at the
You
same
know
time.
what? You know, it was my one of my favorite moments in the series. I know I've said this multiple times, but this is the
Mhm.
point of the podcast. When the dwarf in the flask appeared before Truth, and Truth said, "Who am I? One name you might have for me is the world, or you might call me the universe, or perhaps
Oh
truth,
yeah,
or perhaps
Oh
truth. I am all and I am one. So of course this means that I am you. I am the truth of your despair, the inescapable price of your boastfulness, and now I will bestow upon you the despair you deserve." That was just
yeah. Okay, okay.
bone
I have a
chilling.
question. I have a question. How
Yeah.
many times do you repeat that scene to the point that you memorize the whole entire thing?
a
What the
lot,
heck?
a lot.
What the heck?
Don't
If you want
question
another
it.
quote, if you want another quote,
This man is
this
crazy.
is
Oh, I
one of
know
my
he is.
favorite things from Greed that's kind of relevant to what we're talking about today was when Greed said something like, "Greed may not be good, but it's not so bad either. You think you humans think that greed is just for money and power, but everybody wants
Mhm.
something they don't have, and
Yeah,
that, in
yeah.
essence, covers
Hard,
greed."
hard.
I remember that
That
part.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's why I love Greed. Greed is just
This is why
money.
this is why I was saying that the only show I would give a 10 is Full Metal, apart from One Piece law. But
One
Full
Piece is
Metal
a 14 out of 10.
yeah, Full
Oh my
Metal
god.
Alchemist. Even
Oh
if
my
it's not
god.
personally my favorite, the amount of effort in writing and just the amazing world building makes it a 10. Even if
It's
I don't, even
it's
if
top
like
3.
I
It's
prefer something
it's
else.
top 3 for me. And I think that's for someone who's extremely critical and shits on shows a lot. I think that's a very big
Yeah,
compliment.
I think top five or top three is fitting for Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty good.
it is great. Let's talk
Oh,
about the
we
rest of the.
haven't
Yeah.
we haven't touched upon the Armstrong brothers or
Ooh,
siblings.
I love Armstrong, but the girl,
He was too good.
Oh,
She was
she,
hard.
I love strong women, like women who just like Mara Leona, bro.
of course you do.
You
Who
remind
doesn't?
me.
Strong
You
women.
remind me like
That's it.
there's this one meme they did of Spike from Cowboy Bebop. It was
Yeah, I
like,
like a
I
woman who's
just
gonna
want,
beat my ass or kick my ass, something like
yep, I just want you to absolutely destroy me.
that. I
Oh
am
god.
Spike. I'm Spike. Like,
But
dude,
yeah, I do agree with you.
strong women are the best. Like,
hmm
yeah, who doesn't want a girl that's gonna
Um,
kick their
the
ass?
part where she took that homunculi by herself at the start when her brother wasn't there, it was like, damn, girl,
Yeah,
it
I
was
feel
so
like
freaking epic.
in terms of homunculi, Sloth was like the worst and most boring. It was like the author was like, "Yes, I'm going to show you the true epitome of sloth. My writing of this character." Just pure laziness. He did
But
not put
honestly,
any
it
effort.
was also kind of interesting as well.
What? What was interesting about him? Sloth.
Not in the character. I'm just talking about the whole philosophical idea of like he's too lazy to even exist, which I thought was interesting. Like I don't think the character was super good. I just think the idea of like being so lazy that you don't want to exist is kind of depressing. It's like imagine if you live without any motivation at all. The only motivation he had
That is
was
sad.
that. Yeah, this is also like another thing which is kind of sad about the relationship between father and his own like feelings, because he separated his senses into the homunculi. So the only reason Sloth did anything was for father because he was his, Sloth.
Mm-hmm.
But once that kind of disappeared, that power disappeared, he just wanted to stop existing, which was actually kind of depressing.
Yeah, because
Well, I mean, he was created to serve his father. Like that was his
no,
main
but he's
point.
still the more interesting part of it is that the dwarf in the flask, that's who he is, and that is still a part of him, and there's a part of him that just didn't want to exist, and it makes
Yeah,
sense why the dwarf in the flask that met with Hohenheim all those years ago is nothing like the father that we know in the series, because he tore out all the parts that made him him.
Hmm.
So
he tore out everything he thought was imperfect. I think
yeah, I think I agree. He tore out, but that those are what made him interesting.
imperfect.
Yeah, our imperfections make us interesting and nice and happy. Let's round up on all the other homunculi that we mentioned. Um,
Wrath
gluttony,
was
Wait,
a good one.
wait.
gluttony. Let's go with
Hey,
gluttony because he's the suckiest one.
I hated Gluttony. It was so uninteresting. I
Me
hated
too.
him even more than Sloth. Sloth
Sloth
felt like a
wasn't
nice
worth
guy.
hating. Sloth wasn't worth hating.
Yeah, he was just a nice dude. He just had to do what he had to do. But Gluttony was like, I'm gonna eat you all, haha, and then he just did that whole thing.
My favorite scene of gluttony was when Pride was like, "I need a good sense of smell," and then he ate gluttony.
Oh my god. That is also another thing. Like Gluttony got eaten. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, definitely. That was the point of
yeah,
his death.
honestly, they were savage when they
That was.
ate each other.
I love Pride.
I love Pride and Wrath. They're both
Pride
amazing.
has like a special place in my heart. I love Wrath too. Wrath was great, but Pride, like his aesthetic, the shadows, those things, his power. He was like the most menacing character in the series. Even when Father was like at full power, he was not nearly as menacing as let's say Pride in the caves. Bro, when
I
Pride
think this
came in the
is
caves, do you remember that?
yeah, in the tunnel. I think this is because they hyped him up. They were like, I think the homunculi themselves were like, "Oh, you don't want to mess with Pride" or something like that.
No, they were like nobody even knows who Pride is.
Yeah, they hyped him up so much.
But
They
that
really did.
was but he delivered, honestly. Like it
He
was
really did.
horrifying. Like it was horrifying to just nobody even knew what happened in the tunnels, and it was like the show did a really good job of hyping him up, and I love when a show does that. Like a show, it's not easy to hype up a character in my mind because like I'm usually
I think
more.
I think the best way the reason why it was so good is because they didn't overhype him, so they put in the detail that he is interesting in your mind, so that you know what to expect. But they over delivered, so they exceeded the expectations that they
Yeah,
set
because
for themselves.
the craziest part of it was that we were expecting this cool super badass guy, and it's like it's just a
Because
little
it's
boy.
Pride.
It's just a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the most like on the nose things. Is like the very idea of pride is immature. Like having pride is something childish. But
Yeah.
even then, but
But also, it's
pride
very
is the
important.
most
He was
terrifying
so
part
strong.
of you.
Yeah, it's symbolism that goes both
This
ways.
is why I'm saying Full Metal Alchemist is so good, so good.
Yeah,
It is so the series like this is something like we were talking about rewatching stuff earlier. This is something you can rewatch and you can be like, holy shit.
definitely. I actually agree with that. I actually really agree with that because this show, I never once got bored. I never hated any of the characters. They were all
You never
except
dropped it
Tucker.
halfway,
No, I didn't.
unlike
I
someone.
didn't.
Show Tucker, even though he was evil, he was still interesting as an idea.
It was interesting, but like he wasn't a
Like,
badly written character. Is
like
what
for
I mean.
example, let's say Akainu, which the whole community hates for reasons we will not talk about. Um,
But
he's
he
still
isn't
a
a
good
bad
character.
character.
I don't think Sho
Yeah,
Tucker was a
that's.
bad character either.
I'm saying I like to differentiate between my own feelings and the actual writing
Mm-hmm.
of the character, because if a character makes me hate him emotionally, that just means that he's good.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Because I don't care. Like I rarely care about like bad people in an anime, because it's all very common tropes. But someone like Sho Tucker, who did something so despicable, it
But
leaves a mark on
it
your
has to
mind.
do with, like we were mentioning, he was the one like break in the rule, like the one, I forget what the word is, the one exception to the rule that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
Mhm.
We were brought up through the show. We were talking about the theme of familial
familial
love.
love. Yeah.
He was the one who betrayed that, and that's why, even though it's probably not the worst thing you've seen in anime, like you've probably seen way worse in Berserk, there's just something that's so that evokes such a powerful response from you because he goes against the themes of the show.
Yeah, and that's a good
Mhm.
thing that Ashokan does, because like no matter how I was desensitized to that stuff, like there's a lot of other horrible shit that goes on, like as you said, Berserk. But like seeing Show Tucker in a setting that amplified familial love so much, it really did hit, not because it was a bad thing on its own. It's because of everything around it.
Yeah,
You've seen Edward. You've seen his trial for his mom. You've seen him sacrifice. You've seen the teacher, the sensei, everyone else. Everyone else loved their family. Hughes was happy because he had a family. That's all he ever wanted. And then this douchebag is like, nah, I want my badge, and he did that to his daughter. It was so bad.
I hated that.
I'm gonna sacrifice my family for the badge.
Man, he was such a shitty
No, but then
person.
like I just thought how he displayed himself as like, oh, I'm a nice, innocent little peep, old guy. And then after that, like
I mean,
behind the scenes,
honestly, it
he's such
was
a
kind of sus
monster.
though. It was kind
I
of
mean,
sus.
yes,
Like,
yes, okay, he did look a bit suspicious, but then he was still acting like
cause like
nice. Like
his
the worst
daughter,
I thought he would be like a thief or something. But
cause like
not
his
a
daughter
freaking.
was like very cheerful, and he's like, "Come on
Mhm.
now, go into your room," like very calmly, and I'm like, this dude doesn't
Yeah,
seem right,
he gonna do something.
and he did.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and he did.
Um, yeah, let's talk about the ending a
Oh,
bit more.
wait.
Uh,
Okay,
is
yeah,
there anything
about
you
the
want to
ending.
talk about, Mandy?
Did y'all did y'all feel a little bit like just a little tiny bit sad about father dying? Because like
Father?
okay, in
Really?
the end, when he was like, all I wanted was freedom, all I wanted was like to.
Nah, nah, fuck you, father.
I
Go to hell. I don't
I
care.
thought it was good for his character, but I didn't feel like anything emotionally. Did you?
I didn't care whatsoever, because this
Okay,
dude
but
fucked
if
up.
you remember, what's his name? Hohenheim, he like when he remembered, like there was this flashback of him remembering um father being like, "Oh, I wanted freedom, blah blah blah. That's all I wanted." He there was like a sad look on his face,
I don't
like there
care
was
if
a
he's
No,
sad.
clean
no,
He
I.
made
It was
he
regret.
like made
it was a really nice thing to attach. Like, I like the fact that the dwarf in the flask wasn't just he wasn't just a random bad guy. Oh, I want to be bad because I want to be bad, and I want to be powerful because being powerful is good. He had reasons for wanting to be this.
Mhm.
For one, he wasn't even supposed to be in this world. He was summoned through some sort of magic or whatever it is, and then from that, he gets to develop and get even better. Which one thing that's just I love about Fullmetal Alchemist is that they create potentially one of the best antagonists in anime simply because every small antagonist leading up to him is also a part of him. So every character development we see from lust or envy or wrath or pride is literally all a part of Father, and it's a part of the dwarf in the flask. So if anybody was gonna argue to me that he's the best antagonist in anime, I couldn't say that they're invalid for arguing it.
Yeah. His
I don't
character
know.
was like well written.
Yeah, I
It
just
was
it's such a
written. I just
unique way of writing. Like to have
I just wish it wasn't such an information dump. I wish they laid out the information a bit more
I don't.
sparingly through all the
Well,
series,
I
because
You
mean,
think so?
by the end of it, you get told all the information.
yeah,
No,
and that's what I mean by an information dump, because
I felt like the
I
mystery
didn't
though.
no, but the thing is, I didn't get to spend enough time with the antagonist to feel anything. I didn't feel
Uh,
sympathy for him. I didn't feel anything. I didn't like. I appreciate when a villain has a good story. I just didn't appreciate how they waited so long to tell me. And by that point, I was so invested in the other characters, and I was like, always, I was just like, get this over with. I want to know what like Armstrong is doing or something. So
mhm.
I really wish that the sorry, I can't talk. The idea of the villain is really well, and that execution was also very well with all the minor villains. But he really should have been like a bigger concept
You
from
wanted him to have more
towards the
screen time?
mid show. Not about screen time, just they should have included him a bit more from the middle of the
I
show,
remember
not
though.
towards the end.
Fair enough.
I think one, the mystery of the show is probably one of the best things about it, and two, around like episode 50 or so. I know there's 70 episodes, so it's more after the halfway point. But around episode 50 or so, you do get the full Hohenheim backstory. How why
Yeah.
he's
Which one?
immortal.
After what?
You get after like around episode 50, you get the Hohenheim backstory with the dwarf and
I
the
know,
phoenix.
but that's too long. The anime ends around like 63 episodes, so that's like 10 episodes from the end.
Well,
Like,
you gotta
nah.
be patient.
Mm,
I know, but
Your patience
like
is the key.
like I was very interested by Hohenheim at the start, but by the
Hmm.
time they were like, "Ah, guys, we're gonna talk about Hohenheim now," I was like, "I don't care. I want to see what my boys are doing."
I don't, I had a different experience. I will say
Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoyed it.
maybe you rewatch it
I
and
I will.
see it with that, and we'll talk about it then. Because I've rewatched it maybe 3 times at this point.
Yeah,
Wow,
like
that's a lot.
don't get me wrong. Like, I didn't. I might be exaggerating, but like I wasn't impatient during the scene. I watched all of it. It was good. I just wish they did it a bit early.
Mm,
That's all.
okay, that's fair.
Because like law, it's like your complaint with the ending of Naruto when they just dumped in another
No,
villain
but
after.
that was like completely unforeshadowed. If they explained if they did, that would be the equivalent of, let's say, um, not Truth, but Truth's mom came, and Truth's mom was the main villain of the show. That's literally the ending of Naruto. I'm serious. I'm not even joking, bro.
Isn't okay, but the thing is, father is kind of all the homunculized parent.
No, I'm saying Father is good in that way because all the homunculi are part of him. So if you like any homunculi, you kind of like Father.
Okay, but that's the thing. That's just like I don't feel that because father isn't the one who was envy. He wasn't the one who was greed.
He
He
is.
was just
That's
an
literally
asshole.
him.
But he was part of them. Like they were part of
No,
him.
they are everything that he is, and
Okay,
I
law. Would you, if I detached your like pride from you, would you say that they are you?
yes, in the
So
end of the day, that's still
if
something
I
that's a part
hated,
of me.
if I hated pride, does that mean I hate you?
Yeah,
Because I don't know. Like
yeah.
Well,
If you hate, let's
you're
I,
say,
gonna hate that
I'm. If
part of
you,
him.
yeah, you can hate a
okay,
part
but
of me.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Father, he was never shown in the anime with all parts of him intact with him.
Yes, he
So
was.
why the hell would I?
He was.
When? I really don't
When he
remember
in the
at all.
flashback with Hohenheim, he talked and sounded way
That
different
homunculi, that
before he.
homunculi was awesome.
No, wait,
That
wait, listen, listen.
the thing in the flask.
Listen. The thing in the flask, the reason why it was so great, it was that, I said this earlier, but I don't know if you heard me, was that Father was really just a shell of what the what was it, the dwarf in the flask. He was
Thing in
really
the
just
flask.
he
Yeah.
was just a shell of that because he was charismatic, fun to talk to, like with earlier. Like he was actually pretty funny and he was doing chill things, but the
Yeah, and
moment where he
that's the
tore
thing.
everything out of him, he became a shell of himself, and it's still they're still all one entity. Like the father is separate from pride, but they're still both a part of the dwarf in the flask in the end of the day. And so the dwarf in the flask is still a really great character, and I think it's a really interesting way for
The
the show to
dwarf,
make it.
the dwarf in the flask was good, but father, the actual shell was bad because he was shown before the thing in the flask. We saw father, we knew that he was an asshole, and we never got any explanation. And then after the fact, they're like, "Oh, he was actually a pretty cool guy." But at that point, I would have like I didn't feel any connection to him because I already seen how bad he is right now. But if they introduced the thing in the flask and then they introduced the shell of what he was, I would have like recognized the difference. Oh, that he was actually like a really nice guy, and then he tore everything out of him, and then he became this. I would have felt more impact other than establishing him to be this like dickhead actual before they introduced the thing in the flask, which is kind of my problem with it, if that makes any sense.
That's fair.
Mm. Well, yeah, but like, okay, for me, I felt like, okay, when they introduced him as like, oh, he's the bad guy. Like, obviously, there's a story behind it. So then I got excited to like, watch even more.
Okay, but you
And
had
be
to
like,
wait like
yeah, what's
50
happening?
episodes for that full
I'm
story.
with
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
really
that
with
is that is
Mimi on this.
part of why I took a break, like a
Okay,
year
I'm no
break.
longer with Mimi on this. I I I was more focused on the main characters. I don't know. I have this tendency when I'm watching a
And
show to
that's what I
just
said.
get really um into it, and when I'm saying I'm focused on the main characters, I was focused on their motivation to find the truth. And so while they were studying and learning every new tiny detail in a new city, I was like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome! I'm so happy about this and that." And so when I got the info dump at the end, I was just like sitting down and being like, "Wow, really? Oh my god, wow." Okay, but I guess that's just
Overall, it was
stuff we
pretty exciting.
disagree with.
Like
But
I agree. Like I enjoyed knowing everything. I just didn't like the character himself, Father. I don't think he was the greatest villain ever. I think the homunculi were. I think the concept of Father was very unique, very good. But Father himself wasn't that good of a
I'm
character. The
not
idea,
arguing it. I'm not arguing it, but I'm saying it could be argued. Definitely could be.
as I'm saying,
That's just like I can't be bothered, but I disagree.
I definitely disagree that it could be. Somebody
okay.
could
I mean,
argue
it's
that it's the
fair.
best thing in anime, but again, I don't feel that personally.
Okay,
Because
that's fair.
father is just like, think of it like a. Okay, you don't know Pokemon. I was gonna say like.
I guess what I'm saying is I guess what I'm saying is we liked Father for the homunculi, not for Father himself. This is what I'm trying to say.
Father is separate from the homunculi. Father, the entity, is separate from the homunculi. But the dwarf in the flask, who tore himself to pieces trying to get his dream or try to remove his imperfections, that is a great character. That is a great idea. And
Yes,
to
I
see
agree.
Father at the
That's
end
great.
is literally just a miserable, like, shadow of what he once was.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying like, you know, I like the idea, I like the homunculi, and that's why I like the concept of Father. I just don't think that Father without any of those other elements
Of
is a
course
good
not.
villain.
Of course not. But
Yeah,
we're not arguing him individually because he isn't like that's
because all he did was like flex a bit and then like die. That's all he did.
Yeah,
Like a bit.
pulling a sun in his hand.
Like, yeah, like if you're gonna flex, at least do it right.
I don't know. I feel like that's pretty sick. Pulling a sun in your hand.
Honestly, the
Well,
sun, the scene of the sun was pretty nice. That was pretty smooth.
I think the best scene was when he died and he met the universe.
Yes. No, I love
That was
that.
the best scene
I
ever.
love that.
He met God and he was like, "Bitch."
Yeah, like that line that was just like, "I will bestow upon you the despair you deserve." That is just, I love that. That gives me
In the anime.
goosebumps. Yeah. Let's talk about. We didn't talk about Ed and Alphonse at all, except we did in
Yeah.
the beginning. But how did you like them throughout the series and the ending?
I really loved them. I know they weren't the best characters in the show. However,
They
because
were
of
still
everyone,
amazing.
Really? I could.
yeah,
Hmm.
like Edward. I think Edward is a very good character. Uh, I don't know what my favorite character would be, to be honest. I don't know.
Mine is
However,
Lee.
Edward
I
is
said the
more of
same
a
thing.
like, I don't have a plan, but let's go head on.
But
And then there's
eh,
Alphonse that
Edward
takes
just
a little.
my favorite part of Edward was him like dealing with the
crying.
turmoil of like his little brother.
Yeah, I was about to say like Edward being serious is the best thing in his character. Like his moments when he was crying, when he was dealing with stuff, he was pretty good.
Oh
But
I
yeah.
in
think
the
my
show, he's the
favorite,
comedic relief.
I think my favorite would be Greed, as you said. He was pretty good.
Damn. First, we have the same one with Actually, no, we weren't the same in that one. I was gonna say, Lunge. Lunge was my favorite, and yours was what's his name?
Wait, maybe have you read Monster?
I like
Mimi?
Lung.
What?
Zumi's just chilling.
What happened?
I'm serious. I like Lung.
Yeah,
Lunge.
Long is pretty cool. Long is so cool, guys.
Lung is
You know
amazing.
my favorite thing of Long's character is that he helps me
Tennada.
breathe. No, he helps me breathe.
Nihonjin.
The thing is, I knew that Lunge was gonna be Law's favorite character before he knew. Like, I knew this. I freaking knew this, and I
He,
stayed
he's
quiet.
uh, he's just too good, honestly. Lunge was really good.
Bro, my favorite part was
Same.
how he
You're
grew up.
you're cheating on
and
me.
He
You're
admitted
you're
he was
cheating
wrong.
on me. Okay.
I gotta go back to work.
My favorite part is like, hey, Lunge, I've been cheating on you and I'm leaving. And he's like, okay, do it quickly because I have work. It's like so funny.
Oh my god.
This man is really like that, though.
But he grew up at the end. In the end, he was like, my daughter lived with me her whole life, and I've never spoken to her. But now that she's gone, like my relationship with her is good. I don't think his relationship with his wife probably got good because she cheated on him and would live with
Yeah.
her lover. So
I don't think I
Poor
don't think he was.
man.
Yeah, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
But-
But him showing people the pictures of his grandson was adorable, because Lunge would
Yeah.
have never done that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Character development.
Yeah. Okay, we're talking about Furu Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Let's talk about
Full Metal Alchemist.
Alphonse was a great character. I loved him.
Yeah, he was.
The feeling
Yeah.
of like not being right in your body, like it's talking.
Oh, that was so sad when he was doubting himself. That was
Bro.
like I just wanted to go there and be like, yo, stop doing that.
Or when he wrote, when he would see people eating and he writes it down in his notebook and it's like, oh, I really want to try that. Like, I want a sequel where he just
Oh my
goes
god.
and eats all the food that he didn't get to eat. I would watch that sequel.
Yeah.
They
No,
should have
but
made
then
an
yeah,
OVA of that.
every
An
time he goes
OVA?
to the paradise,
Yeah.
the white place,
Yeah.
and he sees his buddy, and his buddy's like so skinny. I'm just like, man, just don't die, hang in there.
Actually, before we
Every
like
single time.
before we wrap up, I wanna like appreciate that the main love interest wasn't just wasn't just like a female goes around like yelling the name of the main character half the time. I
Talking about
like I
Mikasa?
enjoyed that. What? Yeah,
Mikasa?
Mikasa, Eren is like Eren. Like no,
Winry was her
she
own
actually
person, and I love that.
yeah she had her own dreams, her personal dreams. She felt like an actual real human. She wasn't just like, oh Edward, where are you going? She was actually like a person,
And
and
I love
she helped him a lot with like his bio, like his
and
what
his
like
childhood.
prosthetic.
She helped him a lot.
She helped him with his childhood.
Like he had a traumatic childhood. So what do you guys
Honestly,
think
like
about
seeing
Alphonse?
them.
They were pretty cute.
Alphonse and the little Chinese girl.
Oh my god, yeah, the Chinese girl.
What do you guys think
I
about
hope
Wait,
them?
it's
what
like an
about them?
extra
Wait, what
episode to
about
like
them?
find out if they're
Um,
together or not.
yeah,
Did they get together? I'm not sure.
yeah. I don't know. She
I
looked
don't
like
know.
she was 5.
I'm just happy that Edward and what was her name? Something with an E.
Winry.
I'm
Winry?
glad they Emily. Yeah, I'm glad they
Winry.
ended up
What the hell?
Winry or Emily, bro.
It's Winry.
Winry.
Okay, okay, okay.
Where did you get
Uh,
Emily from?
now it's Emily. Okay. I'm glad they ended up together, because that was actually a satisfying romance for once in an anime.
The show had a lot of satisfying romances. Their teacher with her husband was like pretty wholesome.
Oh,
Um,
I love the teacher. How did we not talk
yeah,
about her? She's
and
a passing
Oh,
housewife
she was
and completely
badass.
OP. What? That was so good.
I love the teacher too. She's awesome.
And she let the kids be alone in the jungle for like 2 days or something. Like, go fuck yourself in the jungle.
She was pretty
And
cool.
they
And
like
she
did
helped
that whole
with the last fight as well. So that was awesome.
yeah.
She was like,
One
useless.
of the worst, the like hardest parts of it was like when she saw that Edward could do any alchemy without using a symbol, and she knew that he performed human transmutation, and she couldn't
Yeah.
say it, and she just knew that this kid went through hell, and is like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help him. That was like one of the heartbreaking moments.
I think like the teacher. My favorite moment was when she was kind of the person who told them, "Do you?" Because Edward and Alphonse they felt guilt because they thought that they fucked their mom over. They thought that they actually did something for her in the afterlife. However, she told them, maybe they like she was not actually the person you summoned, and they went and checked her grave, and that was kind of like a big revelation moment for Edward, which was kind of nice.
The messed up part about that was that he didn't reanimate his mother. He was building his brother. The corpse there was literally Alphonse.
Yeah, I never got that like the logistics of what happened.
No, 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 no. I'm telling you, 100%. That was Alphonse. Because
What like
Wait,
why
what?
would he rebuild him?
the that black thing that crawled out when they committed human transmutation, that was Alphonse.
Hmm.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Alphonse.
that's why
I thought it
he
was
took
a
like
random
his
person.
body and
They're
soul,
like,
right?
oh, the bones are too long to be like a woman's or something like
Yeah,
that.
and then Alphonse has memories. Like there's a moment where Alphonse like dreams and he realizes
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
he's looking at Edward, but not from the metal body. He's looking from the view of that black thing. So that was probably what fucked up
Oh my
Edward even more.
god.
Yeah, but no, the thing is, like he thought for a long time that he reincarnated his mom and like did like
But
destroy their soul or something,
that's
and
but he didn't bring any closure to himself because he realized he fucked his brother up even more.
yeah,
Yeah. That's just sad. But
which
hey, yeah, in the
also
end, he got his buddy back. It was amazing.
Yeah.
which also kind of like makes me, after watching the show, it made me appreciate life even more because of like the whole transmutation thing. It's kind of weird, but I enjoyed it.
That's fair, honestly. Wait, it
It
was a
was
really
cute.
great show. Like, really great show. Loved it a lot.
Because losing a loved
Mhm.
one to death is kind of a surreal thing,
Yeah.
and it was portrayed in that anime really well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it reminded you can't bring someone back from the dead. It's like, they're dead. That's it. Move on.
This
Yeah.
reminded me of those memes that's like Jotaro telling Josuke, you can't bring the dead back. And then in the bottom, it's like him when he was 17. Oi, GG, wake up. I love
Mimi,
that.
he's referring to like in JoJo's.
Don't
There is
spoil
like
it.
this. It's not much of a spoiler. There is this like golden rule of. I doubt Mimi's gonna watch it anyway. There's this golden rule of stands where
Yeah.
like stand a stand can do anything but bring someone from the dead. But literally in part three, his
Mhm.
grandfather dies for like 4 hours, and they're like, "Ah, just pump some blood in him," and he just wakes up.
And then
Oh
and
my
then
god.
Giorno enters the chat saying, Kono Giorno Giovanna Yumekaru.
You make I love Jordan so much, but we'll talk on that later.
Alright, maybe when Azumi gets to part 5.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Oh,
Mimi, if you want, you should watch JoJo. It's good, but I doubt you could do it with the art
I
style.
watched a couple episodes.
If you
I
could
think
get
I got up
past
to like
the art
episode
style,
10 or
if you could
13.
get past the art style, I think you will like it.
Okay, and the
Maybe,
art style,
maybe
just
like
I can't take them seriously in it. It's like
you
a
don't have to
comedic
take them serious.
thing.
You don't have to
half
take
the
them
show
seriously.
is a
Go,
joke.
yeah, have the
But
show as a joke.
it's
Don't
all
go.
about the art style.
It's not. It's not about that. You like okay, so, like a thing about JoJo, you'll be laughing, but then when the serious shit happens, you'll actually be crying.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
he's
okay.
right. He's definitely right.
I mean, I don't know. I could try. I could try.
Let's talk about Full Metal.
Full
Before,
Metal, yeah.
is there anything else you have any thoughts on? Azumi, do you have any
Nah.
thoughts? Okay.
Azumi has fallen asleep.
What?
Do you have any thoughts on
Too
Full Metal
loud.
Alchemist? Just we're closing it off.
All I can say is Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
That's a perfect addition. Thank you, Azumi.
Amazing.
All right.
Absolutely.
That just changes my whole perspective. We need to record another hour.
I know, right?
I know, guys. I'm so smart.
Yes.
Man.
This would be the genius.
Do you wanna like Law? You're always asking. Do you wanna say something else? But do you wanna say something else?
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you have something?
good.
Okay.
Are you sure,
Good.
Law?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't sound.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I am sure. I am sure.
Cool.
So.
All right.
I guess this
Wrap
is,
it up.
I guess this is it, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Take care. Take
Well.
care. And
Are you gonna do the thing?
do do do.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right.